with Journey with Jen, and welcome back. Today's video is special because it's interactive. So please hit the pause button when you need to, and that way you can actually do the exercise yourself. That really will make the information sink in, and it will be there for you in the future when you need it. Okay, so you're going to crumple up your 5 pieces of paper, and with your wastebasket in the middle of your open space, you're going to stand as far away from this wastebasket as you can, and basketball style, you're going to free throw these papers into the trash can and hopefully get all 5 of them in. If not, you're counting how many times maybe it takes you to get maybe 1 in. Anyway, try this with it in the middle of the room and then come on back here. Okay, so part 2 of this exercise, we're moving the wastebasket to a corner of the room. And this time we're going to take our 5 air parentheses basketballs and we're going to purposely bank them off the walls in the corner and into the wastebasket. So give this a try and come on back. To be safe around horses, it's really important to consciously make an effort to use the tools available to us to accomplish the task. In this case, staying safe, keeping our horses safe, not damaging our expensive equipment, and having a good time. The first safety tool that I want to share is one of the invisible ones. It's the software that I've installed in my horse's mind, the training he's had that has told him that he is at no time allowed to come in with ears pinned, a wrinkled nose, a bad attitude on his face. He's not allowed to buck or rear or kick or do anything that would put me in danger when he's in my proximate space. So if he ever does show any of these signs, he's driven out harshly and put to work, not just a little bit, until his attitude improves. When Gunner's in a high anxiety state, like he is here in this clip, where he's watching some elk approach his pasture and he's not too happy about it, this is a time when I would read his body language and I would not invite him into my personal space. He's too volatile at this moment. So knowing my horse is really important to being safe and knowing where he's at emotionally in 1 minute to the next. Staying in tune with this is another tool that I use. He's a thoroughbred and Arab cross. He's sensitive and he's quick to change emotions. Come get it. When horses are in a calm state, their body language shows this clearly. In this clip, you can see that everything is down. The neck is down, the legs aren't stepping high, the tail isn't held high. You'll see the tail swishing. That is irritation from flies. This is a summer day, and he'll stomp and swish, but otherwise his muscles are loose and relaxed. For contrast, in this clip, Gunner is on high alert and he's not in a frozen state continually. There's someone working on their vehicle across the street and he knows that that's not normal. It's not typical, and horses are wired to tune into changes in their environment. He's very familiar with this environment and this is out of place. I greet my horse with a whistle, to which he responds. Gunner has been taught to help me put his halter on by lowering his head politely. Once the halter is on, he knows that the ritual is he stands and waits for the cue before we leave the stable, and also because it's a tight space, he lets me go first, and that way we're not in the narrow opening at the same time, and this keeps me safe. Alternately, I can send him in past me with the send cue if I'm standing off to the side. Again, this is to respect that this is a very narrow space, and I don't ever want to be in a narrow space at the same time my horse is. To reinforce the concept of respectfully giving me space in this particular location, I back my horse out of my space bubble. I do this by crowding him and creating energy in front of him. He waits patiently until I ask him to come out. In the beginning, when I was teaching this exercise for Gunner, we repeated it until I got a good response that was calm and respectful, but responsive at the same time. Here, he decided he didn't really want to go back in, but he rushed when he did, and so I actually asked him again, and he gave me such a nice effort on the second try that I went ahead and ended on that note, shut the gate to let him know we're done with that, and we're moving on. Stopping an exercise when the horse does it right is how we communicate to them that they have done it right. A lot of people lunge their horse prior to riding. I work with my horse on the ground before I ride, and this is a pattern. And this is really more for connection and getting a feel for the horse's mood that day and how they're feeling physically, if they're sound or lame. In one of Gunner's early rides, he actually spooked when I lifted the whip over his head and to switch sides, and he bolted with me.
Oh.
And in this clip, you can see that I turned him into the wall one time here to kind of catch him and slow him down. Really kind of had to pull him in a tight circle. I don't like pulling on his mouth that much, so I sat to it. I let him move forward so I didn't have to pull him to a stop. His mouth is opening here, so I decided, hey, instead of pulling more, let's turn him into the fence and stop him using the fence, and he'll stop himself, and that saves his mouth.